Hey everyone, welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I am your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Trisha. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. We appreciate all the listeners.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite actors, Zac Efron. And we have already kind of talked about one of his most recent movies in our Age Gap series. But we had to include it in that one because it just made more sense. But that's the most recent thing we've seen Zac in, aside from maybe the Ricky Stenicki movie. And he's been in several awesome, amazing dramas and just, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But I feel like we haven't really had many rom-coms from him in a while.
Yeah.
You know, or just like romance, like where he's the leading man.
I know. That's weird to me.
Because he's so talented at doing these like deeper like roles and stories. Like he's a great storyteller. So like I get it. I want him to do those things too. But like I also just want him to be the hot guy. Like the hot leading man. Okay? Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna talk about a couple movies, but we're gonna really focus on one movie. But before we get to that, I just want to say I love Zac. Zac, if you're out there, I love you. Like, I actually love you. Okay, I've been a Zac Efron fan, or stan, as the kids say, since 2004 when he was in Summerland. Did you watch Summerland?
No. Mm-mm.
I really wish we could stream Summerland somehow because it was so great. Jesse McCartney was in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I've never even heard of that.
Becky was in it. Lori Loughlin.
Never heard of it.
Great show. He was in it. I had a little crush on him. He was just a cutie back then, and he's been a favorite ever since. Obviously, he had his whole High School Musical thing. Yeah. Great.
Fun.
Love it. Who doesn't? Right. You know? I mean, it was a little before our time, like, but we watched it. It was kind of like we're in high school, and like it's really designed for younger kids, but we can't help but love it. Right. And we're going to know every song and
bop
everything.
To the top. Hello.
So, yeah. We're going to focus on two movies, like I said. The first one being The Lucky One from 2012. So, Nicole, give us a little summary of what The Lucky One's about.
Okay. So in The Lucky One, Zac Efron plays a broody Marine who survives combat thanks to a mysterious photo of a woman he doesn't even know. So naturally, he tracks her down. Instead of immediately questioning why a stranger has been carrying her picture across war zones, she hires him to work at her dog kennel because romance.
Duh.
Cue the slow burn love story, dramatic ex-boyfriend antics, and plenty of smoldering gazes that remind us why Zac Efron was the heartthrob of the 2010s.
2010s. Yeah, and it should say dramatic ex-husband antics because...
And also she didn't hire him. It was her grandmother.
Yeah, but I will say,
details,
the summary, you know, it was slightly off. But hey, yeah, so let's jump into the main couple that we follow through this movie, which is Beth and Logan. Yeah. Logan, obviously, being played by Zac Efron.
Mm-hmm. Who is Beth?
Beth is Taylor.
I forget
her last name. Is just going out of my head. But she's great, too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we have Beth and Logan. And as the summary said, Logan is a Marine. And he just finished doing 3 tours overseas and is just wrecked. Just like so many other soldiers have this sad story of just PTSD and just emotional baggage that they don't know how to process, and
their friends don't come home with them.
Their friends don't come home, and then they start questioning why are they alive and not them, and all that whole thing. It is just truly a sad picture. Yeah. Yeah, and he's just seen a lot when he's over there. Right. Like he's suffered. Yes. But he does find this pic of this beautiful girl, and on the back it just said, like,
keep safe.
Keep safe. Mm-hmm. That's it. Just her in front of a lighthouse. And he didn't know who the picture belonged to, tries to find who it belongs to, and ends up just holding on to it. and he somehow survives through all these situations in which, like you said, a lot of his friends don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of feels like, I got to find this woman. And he starts doing research on this lighthouse and trying to figure out where exactly that is, and ultimately figures out where it was in a small town in Louisiana, where he meets Beth, the woman in the picture. Tell us about Beth.
Beth is she runs this like dog kennel training facility with her grandmother, and he shows up there obviously wanting to like meet her. That was his goal, was to find her, and he does. But he can't quite like put into words what he's doing there, and also it's like kind of weird, you know, like
because he's also not even saying, he's like, no, my dog doesn't need training, no, it doesn't need boarding. And she tries to fumble and get the picture out,
right, but he can't
she cuts him
find
off
the words. She cuts him off. She's like, oh, you want a job, like, okay, here's the application, you can fill it out. He ends up getting hired by the grandmother because Beth thinks he's crazy.
Once she finds out he's a Marine, and that he walked here from
Colorado, from Colorado to Louisiana, she thinks he's crazy. So,
and I also think that like she was a little bit triggered because he's a Marine, and her brother had recently passed and was also a Marine. So she was like, no, and Grandma's like, you hired.
See you tomorrow. Anyway, so that's Beth. That's kind of their first encounter.
She has a horrible ex-husband who's
the worst.
Literally the easiest to hate.
Yep.
Character on this
He didn't even have to like say a single word before I was like, oh, I know.
His face is punchable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they have a beautiful little boy, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's so cute.
He's got to be around 7 or 8 or something like that. And
his 8th birthday is
8th birthday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's just a cutie patootie. She's doing an awesome job raising him, co-parenting with this lunatic who's just a police officer who is too big for his britches. He walks around thinking he can do whatever he wants. And so obviously she's been intimidated by him in the past and allowed him to kind of run the roost and how this
bully her
is going to go. Yeah. So Logan comes into town, and they obviously start spending time together because he's working at the kennel, and they have some cute moments together.
They definitely do.
And I love their chemistry is so great. Like, they could be together in real life.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so believable for sure.
Very believable. Very sweet. Respectful in the beginning.
Yes, in the beginning.
Okay, it's always respectful.
It's respectful.
It's always respectful.
It's respectful.
Always respectful. But yeah, let's talk about some of the romantic moments that we do get to see.
Ooh, okay.
Because they have quite a few.
Yeah. The first one that that stuck out to me was when Beth is like breaking down about her brother. I think maybe it was like the 1-year anniversary of his passing, and she is having this full meltdown in the garden. Like, she's breaking the plants, she's cutting up the rose bushes, like she's screaming, crying, flailing, like
she's unwell.
Yeah, she's not having a good time. But Logan sees this whole thing happening, and he just like runs to her and just like basically swaddles her in his arms and like stops the meltdown from happening. Yeah. And I thought that was very sweet.
That was so sweet. I think movies that create scenes like this is the reason why when girls get upset around the guy that they like or their boyfriend or whoever, and they kind of have this moment of like meltdown or freak out or I'm upset or emotional, they expect their boyfriend to do what Logan did.
To do that, yeah.
I'm going to run to you. I'm going to just grab you. And even though you're flailing and you're so upset, I'm going to hold you and I'm going to caress your hair and head and my shoulder until you're okay. And I'm just going to say, I'm right here. Yeah. I'm right here. You're okay. Okay? We all want that. Now, some girls want to curate those moments.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I feel like I have. When I was younger, not when I've been an adult.
Oh my god.
Not like that bad, but just like when you just you're dead over there. Is that a shock?
Wow. Not really, honestly, but the fact you're admitting it on this podcast is hilarious.
What do I have to lose?
Nothing.
Obviously,
absolutely nothing.
I was like 13, so whatever. Yeah, you just anytime you can create like an emotional shared experience, you just feel like, wow, we're close, and he probably loves me. But anyways, yeah, I wrote that down too as just him comforting her in that garden. It's just like so sweet.
It is so sweet.
And yeah, something that we see Logan doing throughout this entire movie is constantly following her lead.
Yeah.
Like, he's there if she wants him there. Mm-hmm. He's willing to step away if she needs him to.
Yeah.
And he never wants to, like, push any boundaries that she's not, like, inviting him to cross.
Right.
So I just thought that was really, I don't know, I thought that was, I don't know, just something I noticed about his character. Mm-hmm. Not the character he plays, but like his integrity.
Right.
His character in that way.
Yeah.
I also thought it was cute. There were several moments, you know, where her ex-husband, Keith, is that his name?
Keith, yeah.
Keith is also just, like, that's the name.
He's
Keith.
Such a loser.
Yeah, so sorry to any Keiths out there. But this guy, Keith, he was constantly just trying to, like, prove his power and authority over Beth and, like, physically putting his hands on her to, like, grab her arm or just to make her intimidated. Mm-hmm. And there was a moment shortly after the garden scene when Logan was kind of seeing him put her arm around her, and she asked him to stop, and he just says, you know, let go of her arm, like, you need to,
like, you should listen to what
she's saying, let go of her arm. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, he leaves. He goes into the kitchen later on and was like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, because she was like, thank you for that, and he said, you know, I just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, he's at this point, I think he's like developing like maybe some feelings, but this is still so early on where I think he's genuinely just right place, right time. Like, he's seeing, he's kind of taking in her life moments and really wanting to be there for her.
And it's like kind of just in his nature to be that like kind of protector and like, like he has, I feel like there's so many moments where he has eyes on her, like when they're all in this, like the birthday party, for example, when Keith is there, obviously, for his son's birthday. And he's like, or Beth is in the kitchen prepping the cake, and Keith goes in there, and Logan, like, positions himself so he can see them through the window. So he doesn't go in there after him, but like he just
never once did he go up and initiate anything with Keith. It was only ever in response.
Like, he had eyes on the situation, and I think that's obviously, you know, he's a Marine, so he has obviously very good situational awareness. But
and let's be honest, like, he could snap Keith in half, even though Keith's not a small dude. Like,
no,
you can just tell Logan walks around knowing the skill set he has. Yeah, and like. And also probably, like, he knows if I allow my anger to drive the situation, I'm going to, like, kill somebody. So I have to, like, really harness that in. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we see in the very beginning he does have PTSD, so much so that, like, his nephews come and run on the bed, and he obviously freaks out. He was sleeping and pins his little nephew down and is, like, almost choking him out and had to, like, come to and so I think he knows that about himself. He's not walking in this state of delusion, like, I'm this Marine, big and bad, I've seen things, and da-da-da. He's just, like, coasting through life silently, trying to figure out his place in the world, and all he knows is, like, I gotta see this girl. Right. But, yeah, so, like, shortly after that, I don't know if it was the moment where, you know, they had said something about getting beers at some point to kind of just chat more about why he's here.
Oh, that was in the garden.
Yeah.
When they talked about that. Because she was like, or he said, like, he complimented her laugh. And she was like, why don't you tell me a joke?
That's right.
But he was like, well, I need a few beers in me before I do that. So.
But at some point she comes back out. I think it was after the moment where Keith showed up to like grab her arm and he went to the door and they kind of had that exchange. Then he leaves and she runs out and says, when are we going to get those beers? So then we see them have this, essentially this date.
It's a little date night.
And they're just like eating at some little dive bar outside situation. And she takes her to see this boat that belonged to her parents that doesn't run. It's just sitting there in this marina. And it's like her happy place, her safe place. Like all these memories are there. She's got pictures hung up everywhere. And she wanted to show him. And the way that like he helps her down into the boat was so cute.
It's just like that was like the
hand placement.
It started there and it just ramped.
He like grabbed her hand but quickly moved his hands to her waist to help her like down in the boat. And she clearly like took note of that. Yeah. And they had some eye contact. Definitely. And yeah. So we don't really, again, it's really a slow burn for them. Yeah. Until about like middle of the movie, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. Because we see the first like steamy scene we see is
it's that night.
Oh yeah, that night.
It's that night. They're like driving back.
Yes, because she's a little bit tipsy. Yeah. And they pull back into his house and she was going to just drive home. She was dropping him off. Right. And they get out and they have this moment and they kiss. And mid kiss, he says, and all the ladies know, if you love this movie, you're going to already know this quote. You should be kissed every day, every hour, every minute. And then what happens? Lights roll up in the back of the truck because a cop car had pulled police and basically tells her, you need to go home.
Which we know was Keith telling this officer.
Yeah, this officer that he needed to go. Let's be honest.
Tell her that. Yeah. Anyway, the next day, I think Logan goes back over to her house. Yeah, and the barn.
The power had gone out. Yeah. So he was checking on her.
He goes to the barn and like of course is again just checking on her, like making sure she's okay, especially like after last night and the whole cop situation. And here they go again.
Oh, they didn't waste any
time. Oh my gosh. I literally was like, guys, slow down.
And I'm looking like they're not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, so they share another very steamy moment.
But then I thought was cute is that like the reality of her life and being a mom like sets in. Like they're like having their mid little make out moment and the son opens the door from the house and is like, can I have ice cream? She's like, yeah, sure. So they're kind of like chuckling about that. Then the power kicks on. So obviously the moment is over and she's like, do you want some ice cream? They go back in. And then we just see these like, you know, we really just see this montage of all these scenes of them together and having fun and just spending family time like with the grandma and the son and just
and the dog. He is so great with Ben, with the son.
So great. Which is half the reason why she probably loves him.
I mean, I don't know really what more you need. Like he was so great with him.
Oh yeah. Like, and so like aware. He didn't wait for her to be like, can you help Ben with this? Like he just wanted noticed. To. Again, he's this observer. He's detail oriented. Yeah. And he saw Ben in a way that his dad doesn't see him. Like, and it was just very sweet.
So sweet. Loved it.
But the dad does pay attention to how involved he's getting and obviously doesn't like it. So Keith comes and again, basically threatens Beth to say, hey, like, I don't want you around this guy. And if you are, I'm going to take Ben away. I'm going to get full custody and there's not going to be anything you can do about it. So freaks her out and she basically tells Logan, okay, I can't see you anymore because he doesn't want me to. And he's like, this is again, he's following her lead. He's like, I'm really sorry. Like, coming here wasn't like trying to hurt you, but like, okay. Yeah. And he walks right off the porch. He doesn't put up a fight.
All he says is, you deserve better than that.
Yep. Yeah. I wrote that down too.
Yep.
I do know you deserve better than this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the quote was. And
yep.
so yeah, he leaves.
Yep. And then the grandma, we don't even know her name.
I don't
think she has a name. I think it was just Nanny or something like that.
Nanny.
I don't know. But anyway, she tells Beth, like, you're really going to let him just, like, keep bullying you, like, for the rest of eternity, basically. Like, and she kind of has this moment of, like, how dare you say that to me kind of thing. But then
it's pride.
It is.
It's insecurity. She knows that she lets him run his life. She's scared of him.
Yeah. But she tells him right off. She's dropping Ben off at his house. And she goes straight up to him and tells him, like, you're not going to do this anymore. You want to go to court? You tell me when. I'll be there. But everybody in this town knows that I'm a great mother. And you're not going to keep doing this to me. And what does she do? She hauls her little butt back to Logan.
She's
so fast. She was running. She was running.
And y'all.
Whoa.
The spice.
Whoa.
The spice. He's like just in this outdoor shower doing something.
Showering.
He had his clothes on.
Yeah, maybe he was like, maybe he got his clothes all dirty or something.
Yeah, he's out. He was doing some work outside or something. He's cleaning off. She goes right up to him and basically picks things up where they left off a couple nights prior.
Yeah.
And they have several steamy moments together over the course of the evening. The next day, they were enjoying themselves.
I literally drew a fire emoji.
I was really like wondering what you were going to say when you said you drew something.
Oh my Lord. No, I drew a fire emoji and I wrote in all caps, holy moly.
Yeah, spicy. But I mean, honestly, that's where we see their chemistry. Like their physical chemistry actually is there.
Yeah.
You're in that moment, especially like you're rooting for them that much more because you're like, she stood up to Keith finally, like nothing else is standing in their way.
Yeah.
And they can be together and they're so good together and the family loves him. Yeah. Like it's just,
and Ben loves him.
It's perfect.
I know.
Yeah, I thought, speaking of Ben, they had such a sweet moment at church when
the best.
He, not only is it sweet because he worked with Ben to work up the courage to play his violin, but also the fact that Logan's playing the hymns at church. He plays in the garden. That's like such a sweet hymn. And I just thought it was so sweet. And obviously that meant the world to Beth as well. Yeah. But again, Keith, he's very emo at this point.
He's so jealous.
Very jealous. And so he kind of gets to the bottom of this whole situation with the real reason that Logan's in town. And he finds the picture that
he breaks into his home.
He breaks into
illegally. Takes his belongings. I try to point that out because he's a horrible cop. He's a dirty cop.
He's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a cop that shouldn't be a cop. But
yep.
Yeah, he does. He brings her this picture. She freaks out. Yeah. She's like, how does he have that? That was my brother's. Da da da. So Logan shows up and she basically asks for an explanation on this. He gives it to her through tears because he doesn't even know how to explain what's going on. And,
right.
Like with his own feelings and the why behind why he's there. He just knew he had to come find her. And he's trying to explain. He doesn't know who her brother is at this point. He just knows that the picture belonged to her brother, this mystery soldier.
Right.
And then, he later connects the dots because Ben gives him a book.
Yeah.
And inside the book is a picture of Beth's brother. And he figures out, wait a second, I do know this guy.
I know this guy.
And I know exactly what happened to him. And so, we see the final scene when he's able to go back. Obviously, there's a traumatic situation in which Keith Keith
perished.
He perished. He perished due to the treehouse falling on him. And
he drowned.
He was a little drowned rat.
In the rapids.
And nobody went after him.
Nobody did.
That thing fell on him. Logan looks at drunk. Beth. Beth looks at Logan, and they're just like, wow, that's sad. Y'all want to head back to this?
We're just going to go give the report.
It was very sad. Obviously, they called the authorities. They fish him out. He's dead. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's fiction, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
But it was heartbreaking to hear little Ben be like, did they find my dad? Yeah. And it's like, sweetie.
No.
They did find him, and he's dead.
He gone.
But anyways, Logan shows up to then explain to Beth the situation with her brother and how he died, and he just says, "No, I regret." He didn't
die for no reason. Like, he didn't die in vain.
And I thought that the part that I loved was that he owned up to the fact that he should have said, even though it was difficult and he didn't necessarily have the right words or know how to do it, he should have told her about the picture way earlier.
Yeah.
But he was like, and I'm sorry for a lot of things, but nothing else. Like, he's basically saying, like, I'm not sorry for anything that happened between us at all. Like, I'm not sorry that I came here. I'm not sorry that I found you, that we fell in love and all these things.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he leaves.
Yeah.
And she sits there and kind of comes to terms with it for like 2 seconds. Has some tears.
Yeah.
And then
she just runs after him.
Once again, we see her going after her man.
Yeah.
She went after what she wanted. She didn't wait around because she knows Logan's not that. He's not going to do that.
Right.
If he thinks that's what she thinks she needs,
right,
he's going to respect that and walk away.
If he thinks that she doesn't really want him there, he's going to walk away.
Right.
But she doesn't say that. She says, you belong here with us. And he sure does. He does.
Yes. And then they share their final goodbye. I mean, their final kiss.
Yes.
Final in the movie. And we see them, in a scene just on the boat together that he fixed up for her, which we didn't even say. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's so many precious things that he did for her.
It's just a great movie, you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's so good.
10 out of 10 movie, 5-star romance. The on-screen chemistry was top tier.
Yeah.
And I will say, I mean, we talk about this a lot, but and obviously this is a movie based off the Nicholas Sparks novel. But the spice that we did see was spicy.
Oh, yeah.
But there was enough left up to the imagination.
Yeah, we didn't see any parts.
That we didn't have to, see anything that was too jarring.
Yeah, yeah.
Or R-rated.
Right.
And you know what? That's how it should be.
I know.
That's how I want to enjoy movies.
We understand what's going on.
We know what they're doing.
We don't need to see their private parts.
We saw his crack, and we saw her grab his cheek, and that's about it.
Yeah. But
under
his
the
cheek
jeans.
I was going to say, his cheek was covered, at least.
Yeah. But I remember watching this movie. Obviously, it was 2012. And I remember being like, oh, this is a step up for Zac Efron. We don't normally see him in these types of scenes. Because obviously we've seen him at this point in High School Musical and Hairspray and kind of these more lighthearted movies. And the other one we're going to talk about was from 2009, 17 again, which was an interesting dynamic because while I think some people might categorize it as a rom-com, it was definitely more comedy than romance for sure.
Yeah.
But I thought the whole plot was so interesting that it deserved a little talk through.
Yeah, a little chat.
Yeah.
Pardon my throat clearing, everybody.
No worries. It's 6th season.
I know. And there's the pollen.
Guys, the pollen in Florida right now in February is...
I never struggle with pollen.
I always struggle with pollen.
And it's so bad that I've been struggling with it.
Literally, you guys. Pollen fell from the sky today.
A chunk.
A droplet. on my arm. So much so that I was like, did a bird poop on me? Like, I was like, what is this? And then I smeared it and it's bright yellow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is pollen.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
Anyways, so if we sound a little groggy or clearing our throats, that's why.
Like a smoke 3 packs a day.
Take it up with the pollen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about Mike and Scarlett.
Let's do it. Okay, so in 17 again, Mike O'Donnell, played by Matthew Perry, R.I.P.
Truly.
So and then the young version is played by Zac Efron. He's a washed up middle-aged guy who, I almost said, who, I don't even know what I almost said, who magically transforms back into his 17-year-old self. Cue a Zac Efron looking effortlessly, I can't read. Cool
Sound it out.
Leather jacket. Instead of living it up, he awkwardly infiltrates his own kids' high school lives, accidentally flirts with his wife, and gets way too comfortable in a teenage body. Turns out being you guys.
It's the pollen.
Turns out being young again isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yes.
That was a struggle, you guys. I'm so sorry.
But we made it.
What in the stars is happening? Okay, we're back.
Nobody's perfect, so it's fine. Yeah, 17 again. We see in the beginning of the movie, it starts off where this young couple in high school, basketball player, star of the team, Mr. Popular, is dating this sweet young woman who comes in, is clearly carrying some baggage, and they have the cutest little like thing they do at every game where he basically like blows her a kiss, but it's like he does a kiss into like a shot,
like a basketball shot,
shooting a basketball, and it's the cutest thing ever.
It is so cute.
But anyway, so he does that, and she was like, looks sad and looks like she's gonna walk away, and he goes after her. She's like, I'm pregnant, and he's like, I don't care about basketball or anything. I'm gonna be there for you and this baby because I love you. Cue 17 years later. We see the same guy, played by Matthew Perry, in his office of like some sort of advertising agency, something, and he's makes mention that he's been there for 16 years, and yet the promotion that he wants is given to a girl who's been there for like 2 months. So it's kind of not a dead end job, but he's just like frustrated with where he's like, at in life.
Yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah, he's going through a divorce, we find out. The relationship with his kids is kind of lacking, and he's just kind of like stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
And he ends up basically back in his old high school, and the weird janitor says something to him.
Yeah.
He gets rained on.
He falls over the bridge into this little portal.
Yeah. Basically, he comes back as his 17-year-old self. He wakes up as his 17-year-old self, played by Zac Efron.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the couple. Like, both versions that we see, current day and 17-year-old version, is Mike. Okay?
Yeah.
And then his wife is Scarlett.
Yeah.
AKA Scar.
But his 17-year-old self, he has to go by Mark.
Right.
Because nobody knows, obviously, that he's like time traveled.
Right. And his wife, Scar, like clearly recognizes the uncanny similarities that in which he looks like his
and that's kind of like
husband.
That's kind of their meet cute. It's not a meet cute, but it's like where they reunite is at her house, because he's playing basketball with their son.
Yeah.
And she's like a little drunk from happy hour or something like that.
Yeah, girls' night out, something.
She comes home with her friend, and she just like notices right away, like, this guy looks just like my husband, like my height,
she's like
in
never
high
seen
school.
This guy with her son. It's not like his friends, so she's like curious.
So she's just like really weirded out by it.
Isn't she like touching his face?
Yeah, she's touching his face, and the friend is like, okay, we can't be touching and sniffing 17-year-olds. Like we got to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
So that is kind of like the weird spot in this movie, is like, as far as the romance goes, because he's obviously 17, even though in reality it's her husband, soon to be ex-husband.
Right.
So like,
but she doesn't know that.
She doesn't know that.
And he does know that. So then you have this tension of like, he wants to win her over.
Right.
And win her back. And he's still in love with her.
Totally.
And she's kind of like feeling the same way, but also like, you're a 17-year-old kid. I can't be feeling like this. Like, what's going on? Like, she's
trying to do the mental gymnastics to figure out what the heck this really is. Right. So I feel like there's not that many romantic moments, like,
between the young version.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some certain things that he does.
There's some like sweet moments that we see him as her husband.
Right.
Like, you can take that moment and imagine them being the same age and being like, this is so sweet.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
she's getting ready for a date,
and
she puts some music on, and she's doing the snake. And he's like, oh, nice dance moves. And she's like, what do you know about the snake, boy? This is
advanced.
Yeah. Just so you know, we're doing the snake right now.
Yeah, we are.
As we're talking about this. And he's like, well, I'm going to pick a song. He chooses a song that happens to be the song that they danced to at their wedding.
Just another moment where she's like, why did you pick this song? Like, this is the song my husband and I danced to at our wedding. And he is just like, it's
interesting.
A good song.
He has good taste.
Yeah.
And this is where it's like, she then says, do you want to learn some dance moves? And I'm like, that's where you're like, if that was like our mom or something to your 17-year-old friend who's a guy, like, that would be like weird, a little weird. But in the moment, you don't feel like it's weird because they're married.
Like, we know that.
We know they're married. Anyways, and it was innocent. They're just dancing.
Yeah, nothing.
And she's trying to teach him, oh, here's how you do the dance. And then he basically like cuts her off, like twirls her up, and is like, he knows the dance because he was there.
Because he was there at the wedding. He has done this do the dance
with you. And yeah, so we see that scene. We see.
I mean, there's so many moments that he just puts himself like in her vicinity.
Oh yeah, and even just like the whole dynamic of him rebuilding a relationship with his kids.
Yeah,
I think she sees that in him.
Yeah,
working with the son to get him to make the basketball team and just be better, and helping the daughter with her emotional
and her
problems loser boyfriend and all the things. And so I think it's not only about the romance between the two of them. It's really about love and connection with your family, that he's kind of experiencing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say like their chemistry was, I put like 7 out of 10 because they can only be so interactive, but so like that was kind of weird. But it's also they did connect. Like, you genuinely saw them having a connection.
He dropped like a couple Easter eggs, if you will, like calling her Scar, which she's like, nobody calls me that but my husband. And like just these little nuggets to like plant in her head, because he's obviously can't just outright be like, yeah, I am Mike, he can't do that. What else did we have?
Well, there was a moment he threw a party, like a big rager, at his house, or his friend's house. At Ned. Tight lips. That's what we've
called him that since this movie came out.
For 16 years.
Yeah.
And he'll always be tight lips. Anytime we've seen him in anything else, I'm like, oh, tight lips. And we love Tight Lips.
He's great.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay? So he throws his party at Tight Lips, and the mom shows up. Scar shows up, and they're kind of end up talking on this balcony. It's been a very eventful night.
Yeah.
For many reasons. And she's just like thanking him for just like being friends with her kids and it's her son. You know, he needs a male role model and all these things, and they're vibing. And
they
Mike,
have their hands like
her hand is on his hand on the railing of the balcony. And he's picking up what she's putting down, but he goes in for the kiss.
He has a lapse in judgment here.
He forgets that he's 17. And also, like, in view of everybody at this
party,
he kisses her, and she immediately, like, pushes him off, slaps him across the face. Is like, what are you doing?
And the daughter sees it, too.
The daughter and all her friends see it and freak out. So there was moments like that, but again, it wasn't like she then played into it and was like, I feel this connection with the 17-year-old boy, and I'm going to continue to make out with you. It's like, no. There were real life boundaries of like, you're 17.
Yeah.
You're a good kid, but like, no.
Right.
Yeah. So I appreciated the realness of that. But that is where he feels stuck, because he is like, I can't figure out how to get back to my real current self, so I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my family. I'm not going to be able to get back with my wife. My kids are never going to have a relationship with their dad. Right. And yeah, he's supposed to be in court like the next day or something, and he's like, how am I supposed to be there? Like, I'm not going to be able to be there.
Right. Like, he's like, I can be there, but I can't be there.
Right. So he decides to be there, and he shows up, and this is my favorite. Moment
it's
of
the best scene in the whole movie.
I remember loving it when we saw it in theaters, and we saw it again and watched over and over. But he basically asks if he can read this letter written by Mike, the husband in this case, and the judge is really not for it. He's like, get out of the courtroom. Who are you?
He's not even here. Why would I allow you to read that?
And then Scarlett is like, wait, I want to hear. So they allow him to read this. And he just starts reading this letter that gets so personal. Yeah. And he's breaking down, like crying. He's emotionally like blubbering through these words.
Which great acting,
He's
by the way.
So good. I love you, Zach. You're so good.
It was so good.
He's such a good on-screen crier. Not every actor can cry on screen well, and he can. Yeah. Anyways, he reads this whole thing, talks about the moment he first saw Scarlett and what she was wearing, and the moment he fell in love with her, and just all these personal details that only her husband would know. Right. He says his piece, basically says, I love you, leaves the letter somewhere there on the podium or desk or something, and he walks out. She picks up the letter and realizes it's just like scrap paper with like an address. Yeah, it has
none of what he said.
Nothing. No. AKA, it came from the heart.
It came from the heart, and it was real.
Yeah. And so that was my favorite movie, or my favorite moment of the movie.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we kind of cut to the end, really, where like it's basically just like a mirror of the opening scene with the basketball game and all of that. And it's literally the same moment where he goes running down that same hallway where they met, and she told him
because he does the kiss.
He does the kiss, yeah.
And that's where I think she just gets freaked out.
Yeah. So he goes running out there, and there's this whole like magical looking scene where he then turns back into himself, Matthew Perry, and she watches the whole thing happen. So she's like obviously very taken back by it, and he's like, I can explain. And she's like, oh really? And he's like, no, I can't explain. But he basically just like tells her that he loves her and that he's the best decision he ever made. He just forgot. And he gives her this whole like spiel, and she kind of just shuts him up and says that she misses him. And that's that.
And they kiss
and hug.
Gosh, great movie. But let's talk about a couple of the cringy moments of the movie.
Okay. Oh,
with Zach. with Zac.
Yeah,
okay?
I was going to say, wait, there's a lot between
because
Ty
obviously Zac Efron is young in this movie.
Right.
So, like, the appropriate people for him to have these interactions with are his peers who are actually his kids in the movie, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like Back to the Future vibes where, you know, like if you remember in Back to the Future, his mom starts crushing on him and he's like, no, you're my mom. It's kind of like that, but in reverse, where the daughter starts like crushing on Mike.
Yeah, because he's like helping her through so many of these things with her stupid boyfriend, and
and she's totally reading into it.
Yeah, she's taking it way too far, and he's like wanting to just do it as a dad because he doesn't want to see his daughter hurt or go through this.
Like, you deserve more than this. Like,
yeah.
So the moment I thought was the most awkward was in the bleachers when he's having this like heart to heart with her, and she kind of like lays her head on his shoulder, and they have this moment, and then you quickly reminded me, you're like, oh no,
this ain't even
this
the worst.
Is not the one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the party, I forgot.
Yeah, the party.
Something happens and he gets punched,
like,
or he
knocked
gets
out.
I forget what happens.
Yeah,
he ends up like being woken up in bed to his daughter, like rubbing all over his face, like basically giving him like a massage. And she takes on this role of like this, I don't even know.
It's
She
weird.
is just trying to like be
it's
sexy.
Like animalistic almost.
Oh yeah, she's like
very
on the prowl,
weird.
like literally. She's pretending to be like a little tiger or a cat or something.
It's so cringy.
And like, even if it wasn't her dad, I'm like, girl, that's
you need
embarrassing.
To calm down.
But yeah, there was a moment where I'm like, oh no, like, are they gonna kiss? Like, that's so gross.
She definitely tries.
Oh yeah, he has to like dodge, weave.
Yeah, tuck
very
and
much
roll.
so.
I mean, it's bad news.
And just even like there were a couple moments like with other girls that were friends of his daughter, or like other girls at the school that kind of thought he was cute and all that. And he had to be like, you know, he made a comment about like, I don't know if it was what they're wearing or like, does your mom know? Or like, it said something very fatherly that made him be like, huh? Like, what? But I love this movie. It's definitely nostalgic for me.
Yeah. And it really is so funny. There's a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very funny movie. And I do think that for me it's iconic, but again, I was 17 when 17 Again came out. So it felt cool. So much like a movie made for us. And again, Zac Efron at the time was like the heartthrob.
Yep.
So it's iconic for us. I don't know if other people feel like that, but it's definitely not a forgettable movie. I think the plot and storyline is so unique
for sure.
And of course Matthew Perry's in it, so
yeah.
I wish we would have been able to see more of him in this movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Because he's so freaking funny.
Yeah.
But definitely I would rewatch the movie because like in its totality.
Yeah. Right. Exposed.
Yeah. But I just don't know, like, it's interesting. It's not, you know, like The Lucky One. I would watch that movie 1,000 times over just
for them. Yeah.
Beth and Logan are so great together. Yes. Their romance is unmatched. You just feel lovey-dovey.
The chemistry.
Right. It's like I would rewatch 17 again, but not necessarily for the romance. For that, yeah. Like, it's just more of a funny movie overall.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
Great movie.
Yep.
Great movie. Zac he's the GOAT of our time. Yeah. Honestly.
We do need to see him in more ROMs though.
We need more ROMs. Okay, Zac, what are you doing? Bring us more ROMs, dude.
We'll call him. Don't worry, guys.
We have an in with Hollywood, so
yeah. We do. We'll call him. Don't worry. We'll take care of it.
Guys, thank you again for listening. Thanks for hanging in there through all of our giggles and our pollen
my mess ups when I can't even read simple words like cool.
You know, sometimes you just got to sound things out, and that's life. Yeah. So, totally fine.
Yeah. Till next time, guys.
Till next time. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.